When you're down and you're hurt and you can't go, dust yourself right on off so you can glow. Know the struggle is real as the wind blows. It is YAH that's beside for the long road. When you're down and you're hurt and you can't go, dust yourself right on off so you can glow. Know the struggle is real as the wind blows. It is YAH that's beside for the long road.
Yeah. I've been lost, I've been found, and I'm still searching. I was rose from the dust, but I'm not low yet. I was looking for YAH when I found purpose. No adversity's real as our atonement. I'ma live by the word that YAH spoken. Every law, every statute, commandment. He has sent his word and there's no light in. Won't confirm or discern what mess it sent. Up and down, round and round, we in gross darkness. Depart from our heart, seek righteousness. For the meek, never weak. In the city, seek peace. And King David, the one that will guide the YAH sheep. So prepare. We in snares don't care. All we know that YAHWEH is there. So prepare. We in snares don't care. All we know that YAHWEH is there. So prepare. We in snares don't care. All we know that YAHWEH is there. So prepare. We in snares don't care. All we know that YAHWEH is near.
When you're down and you're hurt and you can't go, dust yourself right on off so you can glow. Know the struggle is real as the wind blows. It is YAH that's beside for the long road. When you're down and you're hurt and you can't go, dust yourself right on off so you can glow. Know the struggle is real as the wind blows. It is YAH that's beside for the long road. When you're down and you're hurt and you can't go, dust yourself right on off so you can glow. Know the struggle is real as the wind blows. It is YAH that's beside for the long road. When you're down and you're hurt and you can't go, dust yourself right on off so you can glow. Know the struggle is real as the wind blows. It is YAH that's beside for the long road.
YisraEL, return back. Cause when we exit from Babylon, there's no reason for us to fall flat. As we did, to go back up in the land that Yahweh promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. We gon' get brought through the furnace so we can become the metal that never folds. The young and old will rest their souls to know that Yahweh is ELohim, the light is sown for the right. Bringing the saint back together to be a pillar, to know that we all right. Praise YAH all day, all night. So
when you're down and you're hurt and you can't go, dust yourself right on off so you can glow. Know the struggle is real as the wind blows. It is YAH that's beside for the long road. When you're down and you're hurt and you can't go, dust yourself right on off so you can glow. Know the struggle is real as the wind blows. It is YAH that's beside for the long road.
YAHWEH is a great king.
YAHWEH's a great
above
king.
all,
He is
above all.
He is above all.
YAHWEH is ELohim.
YAHWEH is
Above all,
He is
above all.
He is above all.
I didn't have anything when I heard YAH. I wanted to be a famous king of the rap game. I thought I was the Tupac of my time, but my spirit was on a different state of mind. YAH name was running through my blood. I couldn't shake the vibes. All I saw was the Most High. Broke my wrists and I couldn't write. Wasn't what I needed. I had the book of YAH and began to read it. How amazed was I when I saw the true history in the heathen's deeds. I asked YAH, what is my mission? His word came to me. Said lift him up above all. Exalt his name above all. Magnify his word above all. Cause his word the truth above all. So I sit on Zion's walls and proclaim YAH to the world, cause he reign above all.
YAHWEH is a great king.
YAHWEH's a great
Above
king.
all,
He is
above all.
He is above all.
YAHWEH is ELohim.
YAHWEH is
Above all,
He is
above all.
He is above all.
Yo, YAHWEH is my king above all. To him will I sing above all. To YAH be the glory above all. YAH told my story above all. YAH chose YisraEL above all. David David is his firstborn above all. JC was never above all. Past is only about that money above all. This year, Yah held me up above all. Blessings overflow my cup above all. Yah's spirit got my steps above all. Yah's law is a light above all. Yah's throne sits in heaven above all. Yah's ways is forever above all. I love my Yahweh above all. To only Yah will I call above all.
Yahweh is a great king.
Yahweh's a great
Above
king.
all,
He is
above all.
He is above all.
Yahweh is Elohim.
Yahweh is
Above all,
He is above
above all.
He is above all.
Yahweh's a great king. He's a mighty Elohim, yeah. Yahweh's above all. He's a mighty Elohim, yeah. Yahweh is Elohim. He's a mighty, mighty king, yeah. Yahweh's a great king. Mighty king, Yahweh.
Yahweh is a great king.
Yahweh's a great
Above
king.
all,
He is above
above all.
He is above all.
Yahweh is Elohim.
Yahweh is
Above all,
He is above
above all.
He is above all.
HaleluYAH, HaleluYAH, HaleluYAH. Praise the mighty Yah. For Yahweh is righteous, Yahweh is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Shalom, shalom. Once again, I'm here to bring you nothing but the truth. It's a great honor, a privilege, a pleasure to be afforded and awarded this great gift and blessing, to indulge in a great sacrifice, even the sacrifice of the knowledge of Elohim. I praise Yahweh for this opportunity. I praise Yahweh for this blessing. And I praise Yahweh for all those that's indulging with me in this great sacrifice tonight. HaleluYAH. And we are bringing you, once again, nothing but the truth. And I'm Mowreh Naphtali. Praise the mighty Yah. I'm here again. And I know it might be disappointing for some of us that's listening in, because they miss, just like I miss, my father, Mowreh IshiYAH, coming to do the work that Yahweh has ordained him to do. But hold your seats, because he will be back. I talked to him today, and his voice, he sound very strong. The strongest I've heard him, I heard him today. And we talked, and we discussed the laws, and it was a very good conversation. And I can feel and sense his spirit is just itching to get out and get back to business. So praise Yah, I'm still here to hold the fort down. And praise Yah for Mowreh IshiYAH, turned 40 years old today. And so he's been celebrating his birthday today. And so we weren't going to bring him in tonight to do the program on his birthday. He's out celebrating with his family. May Yahweh bless his 40th, the day of his 40th year on his earth. And may Yahweh bless him with many, many more years. HaleluYAH. And our brother Obadiah was also here today doing the program. So all that leaves is me, Mowreh Naphtali. But praise Yah. Bear with me, and we have another beautiful program to bring to you tonight, even on this 5th day. Praise the mighty Yah. We've been dealing with the book called Deuteronomy. In Hebrew pronunciation, it is called Debarim, which means these are the words. And we are now out of the 12 testimonies that we will point out and highlight and magnify in the book of Deuteronomy, we are now at 5 and 6. And maybe I can even knock out 5, 6, and get a little bit into 7 tonight. Well, maybe not, but definitely 5 and 6. And hopefully you've been listening to the previous programs. And if you haven't, that's okay. You can go back and catch yourselves up. For Yahweh has inspired us to point out some very great laws and testimonies that he told us from his own mouth. Remember ye the law of Moses. And out of all the books of the law of Moses, one that was specifically wrote by or spoke by Moses is this book called Deuteronomy or Debarim. And this book has 12 things that specifically says, remember. Although Yahweh told us, yes, remember the Sabbath day. The Sabbath is not one of the 12 points we will highlight, but it's just as powerful and potent to remember these 12 essential laws and testimonies. And like I said, tonight we will go ahead and dive right in to number 5 and 6. And before I dive in, I just wanted to show you this in Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, because you're going to find yourself scratching your head and thinking that these two different testimonies or laws are kind of close to each other. The last one I dealt with was recorded in the book of Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter. Excuse me. Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter. And I want you to know the difference between this one and which is number 4 versus the one I'm going to deal with at number 6. And so in Deuteronomy 8, the thing that Yahweh told us to remember in this chapter, he told us in the 2nd verse that ye shall remember all the way which Yahweh your Elohim led you these 40 years in the wilderness. And when you get to the number 6, it's going to say, remember how you provoked Yahweh to wrath in the wilderness. And these is 2 different laws, 2 different testimonies, although they will transpire in the same season. But it's 2 highlights that Yahweh wanted you to see, and I want you to separate these 2 so you can know exactly what Yahweh wants you to remember. And so a quick recap, I'm only going to show maybe 4 scriptures so you will be able to identify the difference between when Yahweh says, remember all the way which Yahweh your Elohim led you these 40 years in the wilderness. And he said he did it to humble you, to prove you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not. And he humbled you, allowed you to hunger, or suffered you to hunger, fed you with manna, which you knew not, neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh does man live. And so he wants us to know the way that he led us. In the way he led us through the wilderness. We didn't take shortcuts. We went through the wilderness, which was the long way to get to the promised land. This was the long way. But it wasn't just the long way. I'm going to show you also what the Almighty wanted you to know about this way. Go to Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter. And see, this is why we're going to start reading in the 9th verse. For Yahweh's portion is his people. Yaakov is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land. Talking about that wilderness. This is how you know. See, the wilderness they talking about today when they say wilderness. They will never call a desert wilderness. They call a place that's full of inhabitants, full of trees and all kind of life. They will call that a wilderness. But Yahweh called it a wilderness. But it was also more specific. It was a desert, which means desert is the foundation or the root word of deserted. It's deserted. There's nothing there. But look what it says. He found him in a desert land and in a waste, howling wilderness. This place is so empty, so deserted that it howls. The wind don't have nothing to do but just circle around and make all these howling noises. He led him about, he instructed him, and he kept him as the apple of his eye. Yahweh kept us very close to him, very near unto him. And the only thing that would happen to us is what Yahweh would literally do to himself. He wouldn't even let the sun hurt us. That's why he had the cloud above us by day. This is the way in which he led us, a waste howling desert. And when he led us through this way, he kept us as the apple of his eye. The 11th verse says, as an eagle stirs up her nest and flutters over her young, spreads abroad her wings and takes them, bears them on her wings, so Yahweh alone did lead him. This is how Yahweh led us. Eagle's wings, fully protected us. It says, and there was no strange deity with him. He made him to ride on high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields, and he made him to suck honey out the rock and oil out of the flinty rock. Yahweh is letting you know, when I led these people, I was very good to them. Although I was testing them to see what was in their heart, humbling them to see what was in their heart, man, I was very good to them. And yes, he was. He was very good to us. Look what it says also in the book of Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter, and then we'll do one more verse, and we'll get right into number 5 and 6. But I want you to understand the difference between Yahweh says, remember the way that I led you, versus remember how you provoked him to wrath in the wilderness. Jeremiah, the 2nd chapter. Look what it says in the 3rd verse. It says, Israel, Jeremiah 2 and 3. Israel was holiness unto Yahweh in the first fruits of his increase. All that devour him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, says Yahweh. Hear you the word of Yahweh, O house of Yaakov, and all the families of the house of Israel. Thus says Yahweh, what iniquity have your fathers found in me, that they have gone far from me, and have walked after vanity, and have become vain. Neither said they, where is Yahweh that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, that led us through the wilderness, through a land of deserts? This is what this wilderness was, a land of deserts, of pits, through a land of drought and a shadow of death, through a land that no man passed through, where no man dwelt. This is what Yahweh wants us to remember, the way in which he led us, a way that no man has ever even went. Ain't no sense of you wasting time trying to get through that desert without a pillar of cloud above you to protect you, without the fire above you by night. Because in deserts, another thing about the fire, the deserts get real freezing cold. So I'm sure that fire not only gave them light in the desert, it gave them heat. Just like the cloud kept them cool, that pillar of fire kept them warm. And this is how Yahweh led us about. Eagle's wings, fluttering over us like an eagle above her nest, protecting the eggs. Look what it says. Yahweh wants you to know that this wilderness, it was a land of deserts, pits where you just, deserts got what they call them sand pits, quicksand, that you can just step in and it'll swallow you in. He said, through a land of drought, there's nothing growing there. And people want to say that, listen, our people was in a land, we wasn't following after no moon in the wilderness. And we wasn't looking for no Abib in the wilderness. Because guess what? There was no Abib. They said, well, it was cactuses and stuff. Come on. Now we talking about cactuses? We done turned the Abib into a cactus? And when you want to talk about cactuses are year-round, seasonal. Whether it's New Year or the end of the year, cactuses are seasonal. They stay around. When in the environment that they live. But no, Yahweh is letting you know that the only way we knew what month it was, the only way we knew what year it was by the word of Yah. He told us what time it was. He let us know the Sabbath day is tomorrow. He let Moses know this is the month of Abib. And if we listen, he will still tell us this day, what month you in? But we don't want to listen to the Almighty. We don't want to listen to his servants. But it's Yah. Yahweh don't want you to trust in your eyes. Close your eyes. He don't want you to trust in your heart. He don't want you to trust in your thoughts. He wants you to trust exclusively in him. And this is why Yahweh took us through a desert where there was nothing to eat and you couldn't give credit to nothing. There's no water. It's the shadow of death, this place. Without the Almighty, it's a miracle to make it through this place. It's another wonder to make it through this place. A place where no man has ever passed through and where no man even dwells. This is what Yahweh wants us to remember. Now go to Hosea, the 13th chapter. This is the way that he led us. He led us through an impossible path where all we can do is cry to Yah and just say, where is Yahweh, our Elohim, that brought us about the land of Egypt? Yahweh said, that's all you had to say. Is where is my Yah that brought us out the land of Egypt? And then he would have showed you up and said, here I am. Did you call? But no, we wanted to just complain and tempt the Almighty. Hosea, the 13th chapter. It reads in the 4th verse. It says, hold on. Yet I am Yahweh. Hosea 13:4. I'm Yahweh your Elohim from the land of Egypt. You shall know no deities but me. For there is no Savior besides me. I did know you in the wilderness, in the land of great drought. See, the scriptures that we read before told you it was the shadow of death, and it said it was a land of drought. But a lot of times, that just ain't enough. Yahweh had to establish it even further and let you know it wasn't just drought. Where you might see a couple things growing up, but no, once you get the great drought, drought is already drought, but great drought. You putting great on that drought. You putting great on that name, it done took it to a whole nother level. Now we know, okay, it wasn't nothing in there. Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. And so I just wanted you to see that Yahweh led us through that. And as we led through there, we had water, we had bread, and Yahweh even ran us down meat because of our lust. But our feet didn't swell, clothes didn't wear, shoes didn't wear, and that was the way which he led us. An impossible place. A place where no man's feet don't even walk. Because it can't. It's impossible. Halfway through, they're dead. From the drought, from the heat, from the cold, from a pit, something is going to kill them. The shadow of death. Don't walk in there. And this is why King David says in Psalms 23, Yah is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his holy name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercies shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Yahweh forever. HaleluYAH. And this should be all our song. This is all our song. It don't matter where. We in the shadow of death, and we ain't even fretting, because it's, Yahweh said, remember. Remember your ELohim and what I did to Egypt. Remember the way that I took you through the wilderness. Remember these things. And going into 5, the 5th one, Yahweh wants us to remember this. In Deuteronomy, but we don't want to remember Yah's greatness, and this is why we fret and we start tripping, and we like it, because really you aren't even realizing what you're doing and what you're saying through your actions and what your heart is saying to Yah. Yahweh is not capable to do these things that I need from him. He's not capable to give me a good husband. He's not capable to give me a good wife. He's not capable to bless me. And I don't believe that just keeping these commandments and being righteous, serving him, that it's going to really pan out for me. I got to start making moves. And most of the time, them moves is not walking with the Almighty. Look what it says in Deuteronomy, the 8th chapter. Let's get right into number 5 of Debarim. Remember the law of Moses, recorded in the book of Debarim, which means these are the words. Deuteronomy 8, verse 18 reads, excuse me, I just want to make sure. And let's start at 15 so we can end the way he led us. We're going to end it with these couple verses and go right into number 5. 15 says, who led you through the great and terrible wilderness. Great and terrible. Because it was great. It was big. It was vast. But it's terrible. Wherein were fiery serpents, scorpions, drought, where there was no water, and who brought you forth water out of the rock of the flint, who fed you in the wilderness with manna which your fathers knew not, that he might humble you, and that he might prove you to do you good at your latter end. And you say in your heart, my power and the might of my hand has gotten me this wealth. Oh man. Now we're going into number 5. You saying Yahweh didn't got me. I got this wealth myself. But the 18th verse says, but you shall remember Yahweh your ELohim, for it is he that gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant which he swore to your fathers as it is this day, that he may establish his covenant. That's the reason Yahweh will give you wealth. So he can establish his covenant with you, the covenant that he swore to your fathers. And most of our people don't even know who our fathers is, let alone know the covenant that he established and made with our fathers. But it's Yahweh to give us power to get wealth. And he give us wealth for a reason, not for vain reasons. Even to this very day, when Yahweh take one of his sons and one of his daughters and give them wealth, it's only going to be because it's so he can establish his covenant with them. That's it. We have a sanctuary here. And the only reason Yahweh will give us wealth, so he can establish his covenant with us, as Yahweh is doing. And without the wealth, the little wealth that we have, we won't be able to do nothing. How can we keep Yah's covenant? We wouldn't even have a sanctuary. How can we keep Yah's covenant? We wouldn't even be feeding the poor. Look what it says in Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter. Soon as we see the brother in the Proverbs, he says, Yahweh, give me not too less, lest I steal and take your name in vain. But don't give me too much, lest I forget thee. And a lot of times we get too much, and our cup runneth over. See, we don't have enough, and we complaining. Still ain't serving the Almighty, and you complaining. But then he'll give you some wealth, and it's too much, because now you just done forgot the Almighty. Look what it says in Deuteronomy, the 6th chapter. Verse 1 says, now these are the commandments, statutes, judgments, which Yahweh your Elohim commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land where you go to possess it, that you might fear Yahweh your Elohim, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command you, you and your son's sons, all the days of your life, and that your days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that you may increase mightily, as Yahweh Elohim of your fathers has promised you, in a land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim is one Yah. You shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And if you do this, when Yahweh give you wealth, what you think you're going to do with that wealth? You're going to do his covenant. You're going to establish his covenant. You are going to take that covenant, that marriage with the Almighty, and all the wealth is going to blossom into everything that Yahweh envisioned that his marriage and covenant should be and would be with his people. It says, and these words which I command you this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And these things are going to make sense why Yahweh wants you to do this. You shall bind them for a sign upon your hand. They shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And it shall be when Yahweh your Elohim have brought you into the land which he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. You have to remember, he swore this to our fathers. It's not you or not the reason you're getting all these blessings or going to get all these blessings. It's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He promised it to them. And we just the byproduct. We just the offspring. We didn't do nothing for this blessing. And then we will rise up and sit around and complain as if something is truly owed to us. But look what it says. To give you great and goodly cities, which he built not. Houses full of good things, which he filled not. Wells dug, which you dug not. vineyards and olive trees, which you planted not. When you shall have eaten and be full. So you got all this wealth and you eating good. You eating good. Then beware, lest you forget Yahweh. Yeah, don't forget Yahweh, the one that gives you power to get wealth. Even to this very day, the only reason why you got any wealth is because Yahweh has given you that wealth. And when Yahweh give us wealth, guess what? We don't even want to give the Almighty a tenth, let alone establish a whole covenant with him and make our whole life committed unto him. Yahweh might put you in a position where your whole life now can just be fully committed to him because you got the wealth. And we still won't commit ourselves. But worse than that, we won't even give the Almighty a tenth. It takes a whole nother being to be fully committed to the Almighty. But when we can't even give Yah a tenth, and when you don't give Yah a tenth, you're breaking his covenant. Look what it says. Then beware lest you forget Yahweh, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. You shall fear Yahweh your Elohim, serve him, and swear by his name. You shall not go after deities and the deities of the people which are round about you. See, Yahweh ain't giving you all this wealth or giving you blessings for you just to forget about him. He will bring you down so you can start calling upon him. He will bring you low so you can start being more humble and start realizing that Yahweh is all you have. And then once he bring you up and blesses you, don't forget him. And don't forget that he the one that give you the power for this wealth. The Almighty in the book of Psalms, go there. The 98th chapter. Psalms 98. Excuse me, that's actually Psalms 82. Psalms 82, it reads, Elohim stands in the congregation of the mighty. He judges amongst the junior Elohims, the mighty sons of the earth. Look what it says. How long will ye judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? See, Yahweh says you judges, which is the children of Israel, which is the ones he will give power to get wealth, to establish his covenant with them. And when he established his covenant with you with this wealth, he said, how long are you going to judge unjustly? You're supposed to be judging the earth. That's why I gave you wealth. In the third verse, he says, defend the poor and the fatherless. Do justice to the afflicted and the needy. Deliver the poor and the needy because you're in a position to do it. This is why Yahweh is letting us know that this blessing is an inheritance. It comes with a responsibility. And when you have a great inheritance, it's a great responsibility. It says, rid them out of the hands of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. I've said ye are Elohims. And all of you are children of the Most High. You judges. But you shall die like men and fall like one of the princes because you're not trying to be holy and sanctified and be that one that's just a little lower than the angels. We're not trying to be that. We rather be like the men that we see. We rather be like our brothers and our sisters that's being like the men that we see. I want to be like them because they're like them, and I want to be like them, and I want to be like them. But who wants to be like the sons and daughters of the true and living Creator? When you read about the sons of the Almighty that walk with Him, when you read about the daughters of the Almighty like Abigail, like Sarah, Rebecca, when you read about these women, these great women that embrace wisdom and humility, these sons that embrace wisdom and humility, it says, "Arise, O Elohim, judge the earth, for ye shall inherit all nations." So don't forget, Yahweh, the one that will give you the power to get wealth so He can establish His covenant with you. And yes, Yahweh can bless you with some wealth, riches, and tools and resources, even in the land of your captivity. And once you get it, what are you going to do? Are you going to still complain and cry about something like Israel, that always going to find a reason to complain? And yes, Yahweh, He lets us know you got every reason to complain, but that don't mean you should. And why shouldn't you? Because if you know my testimonies, if you remember me, you know that I hate complaining. I don't want to hear it. It's not humble. It's not a good spirit. If you want something to change, then be graceful about your ways. Be graceful about your talk. Be graceful even in your thoughts. Remind yourself that you're nothing and you deserve nothing. Now, if you're going out here and you're going hard for the Almighty and you're trying to get your heart perfect with Him, then yes, Yahweh will come and show Himself strong on your behalf. But if you're not going hard for the Almighty, you don't have no reason to be complaining. You don't have no reason to be mad. Let's go into number 6 of testimonies, of the 12 testimonies in Deuteronomy, Debarim. These are the words. It's recorded in Deuteronomy, the 9th chapter. Now, like I said, I highlighted the difference between this one we're going into and the one we left off, the 4th one. When Yahweh said, "Remember the way that I led you through the wilderness." And He led us through it was beautiful what He did. It was an impossible mission, but He made it very possible. And He showed signs and wonders even in the wilderness and did miracles for bringing a whole nation through it with no problem. And we the only nation and only people that's ever dwelt there and made it through it, even to this very day. Deuteronomy 9 and verse, let's see. The 7th verse. Remember and forget not. You see how that reads when we get to the 6th testimony and the 6th law? These are laws. This is a law of truth. This is the word of the Almighty that He wants us to remember. That's why He said, "Remember ye the law of Moses." So when we get here, this is the law. Remember, but then He had to stamp it again and say, "Forget not." It's a double. How you provoked Yahweh, your Elohim, to wrath in the wilderness. Yahweh just don't want you to forget this. He said, "Remember and forget not." You provoke Him to wrath in the wilderness. But watch what it says. "From the day that you did depart out of the land of Egypt," from that very day that you left Egypt, "until you came to this place, even the land Ye have been rebellious against Yahweh. This is the kind of stock that we come from. This is the kind of people that we bred from. And here it is, this day, Yahweh said we worse than our fathers, and we still will walk around with complaints in our heart. We will walk around with chips on our shoulders. We will walk around with anger kindled up. Not realizing there is no good in the city that Yahweh hasn't done, and there is no evil in the city that Yahweh hasn't done. I don't care what evil situation you're going through with any brother or sister. It's adversity, and in a time of adversity, you're supposed to consider. And who should you consider? You should consider Yahweh. You're too caught up in personal things, and this is where we fall short. We taking things personal instead of considering the Almighty. But when we consider Yah, he will allow us to triumph. He will allow us to win. He will allow us to overcome. He will allow us to increase in wisdom and show us this is why I wanted you to go through that adversity. It was a test for you, son. It was a test for you, daughter. Because at the end of the day, Yahweh lets us know in the book of Proverbs, the preparation of heart, the preparation of the heart of man is from Yah. You can't actually prepare your own heart. Yahweh has to do it. I stand before you now, and I couldn't prepare myself to do what I'm doing. I couldn't prepare myself to be the man that I am. And I got a whole long way to go. But to stand here today, I couldn't have did this by myself. Yahweh had to prepare my heart. I had to go through things with brothers and sisters, my father, my mother, friends. I had to go through a lot of things. I had to go through things with my teachers, and all these things were preparation of my heart so I can do what I'm doing today. Because Yahweh only trying to prepare us to do one thing, and that's to serve him. Because there is nothing else to do. Ain't no sense of being on this earth. Ain't no sense of being in these heavens or in the seas if you're not trying to serve the Almighty. Everything else is vain. It means nothing. You may as well disappear and go on somewhere else where nothing is. But here, it's about serving the Almighty. So you can keep serving yourself or serving deities, but that's going to amount to nothing. But Yahweh says, you provoke him to wrath in this wilderness. From the day you departed from the land of Egypt all the way until the day you got to the place to go into the promised land. Even after 40 whole years, we was rebellious. Look what it says. A verse. Also in Horeb you provoked Yahweh to wrath, so that Yahweh was angry with you to have destroyed you. And see, we read this testimony, but Yahweh is going to continue to magnify the laws. And he's going to cry aloud. He's going to show the people their sins. Because Yahweh wants you to know. He wants you to know the sins of your fathers. How can you go not in the way of your fathers if you don't know the way of your fathers? How you going to not do the sin of your fathers if you don't know the sins of your fathers? Look what it says. When I had gone up in the mount to receive the tables of stone, even the tables of the covenant which Yahweh made with you, then I stayed in the mount 40 days, 40 nights, and I neither did eat bread nor drink. And Yahweh delivered to me 2 tables of stone, written with the finger of Elohim, and no man, and on them was written, according to all the words which Yahweh spoke with you in the mount out of the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. So listen, pay attention to this, something that you might have never considered. Yahweh spoke the 10 Commandments before he wrote them. He spoke the covenant with us before he even wrote them. He told us, I am Yahweh the Elohim, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other deities before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images of any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahweh, thy Elohim, am a jealous Elohim, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, showing mercy to thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahweh thy Elohim in vain, for Yahweh will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. And then he went further and said, look, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all your work. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy Elohim, and in it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy ox, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. And watch this. He said, for in 6 days Yahweh made the heavens, he made the earth, he made the seas, and all that in them is. He already done spoke that to the people before he even wrote it down. And then what happened? Because that happened in Exodus, the 19th chapter. And then you go to Exodus 20, where he spoke the 10 commandments. And everybody said, all that Yahweh has said will we do. We done seen his great glory in Egypt. We done seen Yahweh come upon the mountain. And then after all of that, you know what happened? Then Moses went up into the mount. After all of that, he went into the mount. And look what happened in the Exodus, the 24th chapter. Exodus, the 24th chapter, it says, I want you to see this. See the greatness of the Almighty. Let's start at verse 1. He said to Moses, come up unto Yahweh, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship you afar off. And Moses alone shall come near Yahweh, but they shall not come near, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of Yahweh, because he was already giving them words. He was already teaching him, and he was coming and teach the people. And that's how it was. It was a back and forth thing. He was learning from Yah, then he was going to tell the words to the people. And that's what you would get in Exodus 21, Exodus 22, Exodus 23. But something peculiar happened in Exodus 24. And we're going to skip down and see what happened. So, excuse me, I want y'all to see this too. The 9th verse says, then went up Moses and Aaron and Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the elders. And watch this. They saw the Elohim of Israel. 70 of the elders and these 3 priests. And when they saw the Elohim of Israel, there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were, the body of heaven and his clearness. The most beautiful blue you ever want to see, for Yahweh said the earth is his footstool. And it says, and upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. And also they saw Elohim, and they did eat and drink. Because Yahweh let them see his similitude through the smoke. He let them see it. That's the way how Yahweh was doing with us. And you think they didn't go back home and talk about this greatness? That should have been the topic of the conversation for years to come. It says, Yahweh said to Moses, now in the 12th verse, this is where it gets peculiar. Yahweh said to Moses, come up to me in the mount and be there. It ain't no going back and forth this time. He says, and I will give you tables of stone, a law and the commandments which I have written, that you may teach them. He's already spoken it. But now he's going to come up and get the written copy on 2 tables of stone. Moses rose up and his ministers, Joshua and Moses, went into the mount of Elohim. He said to the elders, stay you here for us until we come again to you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man has any matters to do, let him come to them. And Moses went up in the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. Watch this. He went up into the mount, and a cloud covered it. The same cloud that's been covering the people. The glory of Yahweh stayed upon Mount Sinai. It stayed upon it. The cloud covered it 6 days, and the 7th day he called to Moses out of the midst of the cloud. So the cloud was still there. And the sight of the glory of Yahweh was like the devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. The children of Israel sitting there looking at the fire. Moses already gone up. He's in there. But the mountain looked like it's on fire because of the glory of Yah. And it says Moses went into the midst of the cloud and got him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. And guess what happened? Within them 40 days, 40 nights, the children of Israel built themselves a calf. If you go to Exodus, the 32nd chapter now, look what it says. And they had already heard the 10 commandments. Here it is, the fire and the glory is still burning upon the mount. They sitting here still able to see it. And then they says in Exodus, the 32nd chapter, verse 1, when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said to him, Arise, make us deities which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we know not what has become of him. What we worried about Moses for when Yahweh's glory is still burning upon this whole mountain? We got the Yahweh still right here. And we still didn't believe. And Aaron said to them, break off the golden earrings. Aaron didn't even believe. Aaron should have been telling himself, I got to remember Yah that led us out of Egypt. And I better fear Yahweh and not these people. They can try to stone me if they want to. But if I've been learning what Yahweh has already been teaching us, to remember what I did to Egypt, what the children of Israel got on me when Yahweh is with me. They can stir themselves up and try to do whatever they want to me. And I already know. We get back to the wilderness again. The children of Israel is going to get stirred up against leadership. Children of Israel is going to start scratching their head and say, my God, I can't believe I done followed these. They ain't going to even say Hebrews. They going to say one of them bywords and one of them proverbs that we know. I can't believe I done followed these Hebrews into this wilderness. They bamboozled us. They done tricked us. This is a whole scheme. And we don't follow them out here. And next thing you know, people probably try to threaten lives like they did in the past. Look what it says. Aaron, he didn't even believe. And he received of them from their hands and fashioned it. What on earth mean you by this, Aaron? When you just heard Yahweh speak the commandments out the fire and said, don't make no graven images. You fear the people more than you fear Yah? This is blasphemy. And look what it says. Let's go to Numbers, the 11th chapter. Oh, actually, let's go back to Deuteronomy, the 9th chapter. Look what it says. When Yahweh said, I want you to remember how you provoked me to wrath. And you can tell yourself, I don't want to remember it. Well, that's on you. You basically telling Yah, I don't want to remember your laws. And do you know what the scripture says about this? It says, he that turned his ear away from hearing the law. It's a sad case. Even his prayers become an abomination unto the Almighty. Yahweh looking at you like, man, you done added sin to sin. Getting on your knees and praying after you done turned your ear away from hearing my law. Now you add sin to sin. You better off. Yahweh will have more respect unto you If you say, I'm turning my ear away from hearing the law, and I'm about to just go do me. And when I fall in trouble and what's going on with me, I'm just going to take it is what it is. But at the point you now want to pray, that's an abomination to the Almighty. That's a false balance. And Yahweh's not falling for that. But look what it says. Deuteronomy 9, let's get back here and watch what it says. Because we just dealt with, he says, remember in Mowreh, right? That's what happened in Mowreh. At that mountain, the glory still burning. Although Moses was gone, a man gone, but Yah's glory is still burning upon the mountain. And right before the mount, they sit there and build a calf and start dancing and singing. And you can hear from the mount all this dancing and singing to a calf. How weak is our hearts, O Israel? This is what Yahweh said. How weak? Look what it says further. It says, Yahweh was angry in the 8th verse. Also in Mowreh, you provoked Yahweh to wrath, so that Yahweh was angry with you to have destroyed you when I was gone up into this mount. 10th verse says, and Yahweh delivered to me 2 tables of stones. And then, let's skip on down. It says in the 22nd verse, in that Taberah, or Taberah, a whole nother place, in that Massa, in that Kibroth, Hatava, you provoke Yahweh to wrath. Every place you get to, you provoking the Almighty to wrath. What happened in this place? Well, let's see. Numbers, the 11th chapter. Let's go there. Yahweh want us to remember this. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to point out the highlight of this memory, so it can be fresh in yours. Memory lane. Right here in Numbers, the 11th chapter. And so, in Numbers 11 and 1, it says, when the people complained, it displeased Yahweh. I'm telling you, you better be careful with complaining. We in the land of our captivity. We are unclean people. We know not right from wrong, love or hate of all that's before us. The most humble thing you can do is just don't complain. It displeased Yahweh. Yahweh heard it. His anger was kindled, and the fire of Yahweh burnt among them and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. That's what happened. And the people cried to Moses, and when Moses prayed unto Yahweh, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of Yahweh burnt among them. You don't realize, Yahweh fire will kindle against you. Oppress the poor and see what happens. Oppress a widow and see what happens. Oppress a fatherless and see what happens. Go against and scorn against one of Yahweh's ministers and see what happens. Yahweh fire will kindle against you. This is why it behooves you to have fear of the Almighty. When you start stepping on certain grounds and certain stages, you just got to fear Yah. You have to allow the fear of the Almighty to prevail. It says this place was called Taberah because Yahweh just broke fire. He said, "I'm burnt them." And look what happened. Also in Taberah and these places, it said the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting. They just started lusting and lusting, not caring about nothing but lust. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, "Who shall give us flesh to eat?" Why are you crying about everything? No grace, no righteousness. All you have is this bitter, contentious spirit. When somebody crying about something all the time, that's strife. Somebody complaining all the time about something, that's contentions. That's a quarrel. And a lot of times a person might not even bring the quarrels out of their mouth, but they got it in their heart. Yahweh said he listened to the heart. He heard the contentions and the quarrels and the strife and the complaints that you have in your heart. He says, we remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely. Cucumbers and melons and leeks and onions and garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes. And the manna was as coriander seed of the color thereof as the color of Bethlehem. And the people went about and gathered it and ground it in meals and beat it and mortar and baked it in pans and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. Yeah, fresh oil. They don't want no taste no fresh oil. I want to taste something lustful. And when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Then Moses heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent. They just in the tents. He just heard the murmurings in their tents through their windows. And not even appreciating what's really going on. And watch what happened. Then the anger of Yahweh was kindled greatly. And Moses was displeased as well. Like, y'all don't have nothing. Y'all in the desert. There's nothing out here. And you complaining about something that you actually getting? That's fulfilling you? It's filling your belly? Can you imagine going out to the poor men on the streets and you bringing them something wholesome? And it might not be their favorite food, but they throw it on the ground, they complaining about it? Man, when we go out here to these poor brothers and sisters, these needy brothers and sisters, man, they show nothing but appreciation. They show humility. And we bringing them chili every night. They ain't like, man, y'all ain't gonna switch it up for us? Get some chicken noodle soup or something? Y'all just bringing chili every night. Man, how would that sound that a person is drawing their souls out to bring you chili every night, and you gonna complain about that? And you have majority of people forgetting you every night. Don't consider you every night, but you will complain about the people that's going to bring you something every night, something wholesome, something good, something hot, and you out here in the winter cold, something that got spices in it. Not going to some place and just picking it up, but cooking it for you. And you would complain, but guess what? They don't. They don't. But these people was that terrible. This provoked Yahweh to wrath. You don't have nothing, and you're going to complain? Moses said to Yahweh, why have you afflicted your servant? Why have I not found favor in your sight that you laid a burden of all this people upon me? Just listen to all this foolishness. It's a burden. Have I conceived all these people? Have I begotten them? That you should say to me, carry them in your bosom, as a nursing father bears the suckling child to the land which you swore unto their fathers? Yeah, it comes with a lot of work to bear a suckling child. A nursing father. Yeah, fathers nurse too. A good father, they nurse too. Because they hold themselves responsible for their whole family. And they know how to carry themselves in a righteous manner. And they going to take on the load and share the load and the burdens with their spouse. Not about to let my wife just be overbeared with all the work. I'm going to help change some diapers and suckle this child and give me a little balm, feed him tonight, put him to sleep. You get some rest. And even if a man can't do it, he's going to find somebody that can help his wife. Because it comes with a lot of burden. But it says, wherefrom should I get flesh to give all this people? For they weep unto me, saying, give us flesh that we may eat. I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. If you deal thus with me, kill me, I pray you, out of hand. If I have found favor in your sight, let me not see my wretchedness. And Yahweh said to Moses, gather unto me 70 elders, whom you know to be elders over the people. And he rained down this meat for them. And this is what happened. And Yahweh says in the 19th verse, you shall not eat 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, neither 20 days, but even a whole month until it comes out of your nose. And it is loathsome unto you, because that you have despised Yahweh, which is among you. You despise the Almighty. You despise the bread. You hear complaining about the bread. You sitting here cursing this glorious moment. When Yahweh said, I'm going to rain you bread from heaven, we don't even pay no respects to it. In the wilderness, giving it to us. You despise Yahweh and his glory. So therefore, you're going to eat this flesh every day for a whole month. And watch this. In the 32nd verse, it says the people stood up all that day, all that night, and all the next day, and they gathered quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 omers, and they spread them all abroad for themselves round about the camp, and they just started eating. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, before it was chewed, the wrath of Yahweh was kindled against the people, and Yahweh smote the people with a very great plague. And he called the name of that place Kibroth Hatava, because there they buried the people that lusted. The people journeyed from Kibroth Hatava to Hezroth and stayed at Hezroth. Yeah, that's all we did was lust. And watch this as well. Let's go to Numbers, the 13th chapter. But hold your page. I'm going to read this, and I got to flip back and forth between Deuteronomy 9 and then going back to where we're going. So I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 9. But that's what happened. And Tabara, which means burning, because he burnt us up. And then we, in between there, and then reached Kibroth Hatava, it was nothing but lusting. And people eating meat like it wasn't no tomorrow. And right while it's in their mouth, they done kindled anger against Yah. They done caused Yah to, his wrath to be provoked because of all this lusting and meat eating. That's what happened there. So what you think is going to happen today and tomorrow when all you want to do is lust, and you don't want to give no glory unto Yah? It also says, the 22nd verse, it says, in that Tabera and Massa and that Kibroth Hatava, you provoke Yahweh to wrath. Likewise, when you sent you from Kadesh Barnea, saying, go up and possess the land which I given you. Man, this was abominable. Then you rebelled against the commandment of Yahweh your Elohim, and you believed him not, nor listened to his voice. Now, there's something, although you know the story, it's something that you really need to pay attention to. It's something that needs to be magnified to you in the testimony. From Kadesh Barnea, this was right there where we was able to walk from there and go into the land and spy it out. Now watch what happens. In the book of Numbers, the 13th chapter, where we will highlight, because Yahweh wants us to remember how we provoked him to wrath. We need to remember this. Numbers, the 13th chapter. Look at this. Yahweh himself. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, start at verse 1, Numbers 13. It says, Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, send you men that they may search the land of Canaan, which I give to the children of Israel. Why is Yahweh telling us to go and search out the land when he already even told us that the land, the victory is ours, that these people are about to be destroyed? We can just go in and take it. But look what it says. Skip on down. It's 12 men, right? And then we're going to the 17th verse. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan and said to them, get you up in this way southward, go to the mountains and see the land what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they are strong or weak, few or many. At the end of the day, this stuff really don't matter. The victory is ours. There's nothing too hard for Yah. But let's see. And this is all by the commandment of Yah. And what the land is that they dwell in, whether it is a good or bad. And what cities they have that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds. And what the land is, whether it's fat or lean, whether there is wood therein or not. And Yahweh already told us, I'm taking you to a land that flows with milk and honey. I'm taking you to a land that's a promised land. This is a great land. But Yahweh commanded us to go in there to check it out. And then the 20th verse, whether it's lean or fat or lean, whether there's wood therein or not, and be you of a good courage. Bring of the fruit of the land. And now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. Okay? So that was the commandment of Yah. Everything with Yah is a test. They went in there, told them to do it. And of course, they went and did it. And this is what happened. All you got to do is go to the next chapter, Numbers, the 14th chapter. And now we're about to see the highlight of the testimony and what Yahweh really wants us to see here. Numbers 14. Well, actually, what you want to, let's not skip past the last couple verses in Numbers 13. It says, the 25th verse. They returned from searching the land after 40 days. That's all Yahweh gave them. 40 days. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel, to the wilderness of Paran, to Kadesh, and brought back word to them and to all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And Yahweh said, go there and see the land and see the people, right? So it says they showed the fruit of the land. In 27th verse, they told him and said, we came to the land where you sent us, and surely it flows with milk and honey. And this is the fruit of it. And if you read the story, it took 2 men to carry a cluster of grapes. It said, man, this land is surely a land that flows with milk and honey. Nevertheless, the people are strong that dwell in the land. They don't even want to talk about the land too long. The land is flowing with milk and honey, and to say flow with milk and honey, that is a saying to let you know that this place is off the charts blessed. It's fat. It's very fat, full of milk. It's very blessed, full of honey. But nevertheless, the land ain't nothing. The people of this land are strong, and the cities are walled, very great. Moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. And there's a saying about the children of Anak that, man, who can stand before the children of Anak? That's in the scriptures. Who can stand before the children of Anak? Said, man, we seen the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south. Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of the Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. Because he remembers Yahweh. But the men that went up with him said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. So they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched out to the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eats up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Enoch, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. And so Yahweh sent them in there, and guess what? Yahweh already knew when they went in there, they would see greatness. For Yahweh said, I'm taking you to a great land, and I'm taking you to do a marvel and a wonder, to dispossess a people that's greater and mightier than you. So we shouldn't have been surprised, because Yahweh already told us, you go in here, you're going to see greatness. The land is great. So what you think the people going to be? Big, strong people. They've been living in this great land all this time that drinketh the water of heaven. But look what it says in Numbers 14. All the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. The whole congregation said to them, with ELohim that we had died in the land of Egypt, or with ELohim we had died in this wilderness? And why has Yahweh brought us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Egypt? They said one to another, let us make a captain and let us return into Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces, because they already knew that Yahweh is mad about this. Because why? Here it is. This is what Yahweh wants you to see. Y'all sitting here fearing the greatness of these people, because they great and their cities are walled up, and the sons of Enoch there. All this greatness you see, and you gonna minimize, you gonna forget the greatness that you've already seen? How can you see this greatness and forget the greatness that you already seen? When Yahweh said he's the creator of the heavens, the earth, the seas, and all that in them is, how can you forget that Yahweh he the one created these people? How can these people be greater than Yah, and he created them? He created the land. And we got the nerve to spit in Yah's face and tell ourselves and tell Yah that we can't dispossess these people. We can't overcome these people. This is a spit in Yah's face. That's what Yahweh wants you to see. Yahweh wants you to see that I want you to remember all these things. All these things I want you to remember is because I want you to remember that I'm Yah. When your wealth is great, well, you better remember that wealth is not greater than Yah. That wealth is for you to serve Yah. Remember, if you fear any people, then you better remember what I did in Horeb. You better remember what I did to Egypt. The Almighty told us. Let's read that as we close out in Deuteronomy, the 7th chapter. How are we going to sit here and forget about Yah's greatness and start fearing and trembling and crying over the greatness of some men that Yah has created, and give them more fear and give them more sanctification than you would give Yah? And yes, they still going to do it to this very day. They still doing it to this very day. This is why we would trust in doctors before we trust Yah. This is why we would go vote before we put our trust in Yah. This is why we would go in the imagination of our own heart before we trust in Yah, before we believe in Yah. Like these people, they didn't believe in Yah. Even when he showed them wonders and miracles and spoke to them out of the mount, they still didn't believe. Still didn't. Yahweh told us in Deuteronomy 7, the 17th verse. If you shall say in your heart, these nations are more than I, how can I dispossess them? You shall not be afraid of them, but will well remember what Yahweh your Elohim did to Pharaoh and to all of Egypt, in these great temptations which your eyes saw, signs and wonders, and a mighty hand and stretched out arm whereby Yahweh your Elohim brought you out. So shall Yahweh your Elohim do to all the people of whom you are afraid. Yahweh letting you know, same thing I did to Egypt is the same thing I do and that he eventually did to Canaan. And what I did to Egypt, I would do to Babylon. I would do to the Medes and Persians. I would do to the Greeks. I would do to the Roman Empire. It don't matter what empire on this earth. The greatest one out of all the kingdoms was ancient Babylon. There was no kingdom greater than that one. And Yahweh showed in him that Yahweh ruleth in the kingdom of men. You have no power and you have no way against Yah. So yes, praise the mighty Yah. Debarim, these are the words. We have now accomplished 6 laws, testimonies that Yahweh wants us to remember. And it's not ironic that we're dealing with these memory lanes and it's surrounded around Egypt and the wilderness. And here we are approaching the season, literally when Yahweh took us out of Egypt. And we're approaching a season where Yahweh is about to take us out of Egypt again. And so it's not of me, but it is of Yah that we're teaching what we're teaching. And even one of my brothers, he laid it on me. He said, man, one thing you want to consider as well is that the 12th month, which we're in the 12th month right now, is when Moses wrote the book of Deuteronomy. Right before he died, in the 12th month, he wrote the book Debarim. And because I was telling him in the midst of the conversation, if it was left up to me, I wouldn't even be teaching this subject. But it's not left up to me. I'm teaching what Yahweh wants me to teach. And I so happen to be teaching about the testimonies in this book, Deuteronomy. Remember the laws of Moses, even these words, Debarim, and the month that he actually wrote this book. Praise the mighty Yah. We can't make these things up. Yahweh is just magnificent. He's a wonderful Elohim. And I just want to say praise the mighty Yah for this great opportunity. Thank you all for indulging with me in this great sacrifice this night. May Yahweh may his word first and his name continually be magnified. Shalom, shalom.
Free. Come on. 4th tribe. For 100 centuries. Yeah. Let's go. Take a look at my soul. Nothing left but these hoes. They tried to take me down, but Yah is in control. So now I ask you, you suddenly black too? The oppressor ain't fair when he attacked you. Started wars cause they tried to tax you. You should be asking who they was taxing. Now what? Prices on our backs and the IRS wanted in on the back end. Lincoln was never down for emancipation, just good political relations to try to make a good case for the next election. Yet Jim Crow came right back in the field, certified with a government seal. Raleigh tried to stand up with zeal. Sadly, he thought that Jesus was real. They gave us them fake news and education to keep us concealed.
Take a look at my soul. All I wanna do is go. There's nothing left of me of this horrid slavery. For hundred centuries, there's nothing left for you to hold. All I want to be is with my YAH and live free.
Come on. For 100 centuries of this horrid slavery. But Yah, he is the king, and he will save me. So now I ask you, will you drop to your knees and beg Yah, please? Don't you know that Yah is coming? It's like tomorrow. I can't even tell you the time on your Audemars. Just guard your heart, baby Paul, baby dog, don't cry. Paparazzi never cared about them tears, no way. Just fear my Yah all day. Rest in him, just like the song say. I'm waiting for the day that he sit on the throne. Till then I'm stuck in my zone, staying focused on the day when he finally take us home. Till then I'm prophesying to the dry bones. Till that day that I'm gone and Yah reveal what he has shown. That YAHWEH is ELohim, is him and none alone.
Take a look at my soul. All I wanna do is go. There's nothing left of me of this horrid slavery. For hundred centuries, nothing left for you to hold. All I want to be is with my YAH and live free. All I want to be is with my YAH and live free. All I want to be is with my YAH and live free. All I want to be is with my YAH and live free. All I want to be is with my YAH and live free. Live free. Yeah. Take a look at my soul. All I wanna do is go. There's nothing left of me of this horrid slavery. For hundred centuries, left for you to hold.